Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jenny VIP Thought Series. This is just like a little mini-sode series that I've been developing over the past few months. Essentially, I just want to be more in touch and be more transparent and honestly more alignment with all of you who've been listening to the podcast. These little episodes are really meant to give you all just real thought snapshots in the moment. Things that I think, that I'm struggling with or emotions that I'm going through. I want to be able to share them with all of you because I want you to know that we're all going through this. And, if you're having a particularly rough week, like maybe one of these little mini-sodes might resonate with you because we all have them. Life has tons of ups and downs, and I think it's just important to know that you're not in it alone. And this is really what the point of all these are. So you won't hear the same topic over and over again. Most likely it's going to be very different from episode to episode. But I really hope that you find them helpful. And, I would love to hear from you on them. So let's take a listen.
Feminism to me means the ability to choose. Feminism, I think, is getting a little mixed up in today's world as something where it's like, if you're a feminist, then you're treating your husband like garbage or like, and it's all things are not, I don't want to say all things are equal. Like, I don't mean it in that sense, but it seems to be like feminism is turning into man bashing. And I, I take issue with this because when you look back at the history of feminism, there was basic liberties that were denied for women. And today's feminism feels more, I don't know if it's just more conflict oriented. It doesn't feel like it's something based in progress. It feels like it's something more based in, putting down men and relationships with men, or putting down what it is to be, if somebody chooses to be a homemaker, like saying like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, you're demeaning yourself. Like, well, that's her choice. So there's more to it, like today, that I think like has gotten misconstrued, and it's no longer a point of like, oh, I'm a feminist because I want to make sure that women are being respected and being given equal pay and equal opportunity in comparison to men. Somewhere along the way, it became, okay, well, I'm a feminist and I'm not going to take care of my kids because I'm going to go out partying, and that's my right because, I'm a today woman or I'm a modern woman, and that's what I should be able to do. And I'm gleaning all this from like things that I've seen and like from conversation I've heard from like younger women, and it's quite shocking to me a little bit, because to me feminism is about choice and being able to make that choice. And I'll give an example here too. And this is a little bit more inflammatory of an example, but I'm going to use this example because it was something that I was actually quite passionate about. Last year, I think it was last year, when the Roe v. Wade decision was overturned in the Supreme Court. And this is basically taking away a woman's right to decide whether or not they were going to carry a pregnancy through term. Now, I I have my own feelings about, women being able to access abortions and things like that. And I have my own beliefs. Like, I have my own faith, my own religion. Like, I have my personal beliefs on this. But what I do strongly believe is that we should be given the right to make that call. At no point in time should somebody be able to tell me, you're not allowed to make this decision for yourself. Like, who are you to say that? And somewhere along the lines, feminism got mixed up, and it was no longer about having the choice, and it was about all this other stuff that like doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And to me, being a woman and having a voice and being able to own property and be a woman, or being able to have your own bank account and be a woman. Like, these are things that just started happening. There are people alive today that were raised in a time when women weren't even allowed to go to school. And the only acceptable form of education for women was to either be a teacher or a secretary. And, pregnancy up until a certain point was viewed as a condition that prevented you from working, and that women were actually forced to take unpaid pregnancy leave, maternity leave, unpaid maternity leave 5 months before their actual due date, because it was believed at that time that pregnancy was a condition where you couldn't do anything. Like, this is all like blowing my mind as I'm doing this research, and I'm going through and I'm picking out these kernels, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is what we've accomplished thus far. Like, and there's still much more to go. There's still so much more out there, because like, even when it comes down to equal pay today, like, there's no way that there's a standard. Like, we already know that, and then even like views on women in the workplace, in corporate America. Like, I'm in corporate, and I work with, women and men, but there's a certain point when you get to where you get to in leadership or in any company where there seems to be like a stop, like, and this is what we call the glass ceiling, right? There's like a stop, and women aren't able to get like advancing past that. And like, there's some women that can. There's a very small percentage that get to that level of like CEO or COO or a CFO. And it does happen, but it's rare, because we still have all these key players in place that were raised and brought up in a time where women were considered less advanced, unable to do these things. They're the primary caretakers of the home. They can't be pulled out of that role. Now, there is something to be said for that, because speaking as a working mother, like, it is incredibly overwhelming and challenging to try to be a professional and also be a mother and a homemaker. It's basically near impossible. Like, I caved recently, and I think I said it on one of my other podcast recordings. I caved and ultimately hired a cleaning service to help me out, because it was just getting so overwhelming. Like, I've been complaining to my husband about the laundry pile for like 2 days, because no matter how much laundry I do, there's like massive loads of laundry. There's 5 of us in our family here, so in this house there's 5, and then plus all of my stepkids and grandkids and everything. So they don't live here, but like, my little guys, they're here, and it's like loads and loads of laundry, but I'm still a professional too. So it's just having that all kind of pulling together. It's completely overwhelming. But I'm going to say this. It's my choice. This was my choice. And I chose this path. And because of that, I'm proud, because I was able to make that decision. I was able to say, I would like to have it all, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make that work. Some people, like, in some areas of the world, women are still very much disregarded and disrespected, and much more so than in the United States. And, there's other places, that will still not let women own property, or, they won't let women divorce their husbands in some parts of the world. And if you do leave your husband, even if it's for abuse or whatever, you're looked down on. You're actually looked down on. You're an outcast if you do that in some parts of the world. They'll look down on you. Like, you're in a horrible position if you do that. Like, this is, wrapping your head around all this stuff is why I consider myself a feminist, because when you really drill down to what feminism is, it's being given that right to make that decision for yourself. That's it. That, in its purest sense of the word, purest form, is we should be given this right to make these decisions. And regardless of what the question is, we should be able to do this. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to do this. And that's really where my mind goes when I think of feminism. And I'll say this to all of you, because full disclosure here, like, and I make fun of myself. I was telling one of my colleagues recently, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but I said, I was like, oh no, we have a very traditional household in my house. And she was like, she was like, oh, what are you saying? And I was like, oh, I'm a homemaker. Like, and she was like, how can you be what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, I was like, majority of the housework falls to me in cooking, cleaning, laundry, taking care of the kids. Majority of it does fall to me. And she kind of laughed a little bit. And then she said, she was like, I'm shocked to hear that, because she wasn't getting that sense from me that I am like that at home. And I told her, I was like, this was a decision that, like, my husband and I, like, when we were dating, this is something we had talked about. And this is something that I had wanted. But again, this was my right to choose this. And regardless of how stressed I am and how stressful the situation is, I chose this and I wanted this, and I will stand by my choice, because I wanted to make sure that while, yes, I am a professional, I'm also a full-time mom raising my children. I am here for my kids when they get out of school, even when they interrupt all of my phone calls. I do their homework with them every single night. I make sure that I tuck everybody into bed at night. I'm the last person to get down. I'm the first person up in the morning and making sure that there's breakfast on the table. I make pancakes and bacon in the morning for breakfast for my children Monday through Friday. Like, there's these things that I do for them that, like, even my own mother is like, you're insane. Why are you doing this? But this is my choice. This is how I want my children to be raised up. Like, this is the kind of presence I want to have for them. And to me, it's an incredibly personal and thing that, like, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm able to do this. Now, I'm not saying this is like a perfect streamlined process. I think you all have heard me break down crying. You've all heard me just, kind of losing my shit on other calls. It is. It's the reality of it. And there's times where I am like, hey, we're having pizza for dinner like 3 nights in a row. Like, yes, it happens. Chicken nuggets are always a thing in my house. But again, I'm able to make these decisions. And if we didn't have these original women who started to question why they weren't able to do the same things as their male counterparts, I wouldn't be able to sit here today in this home that I bought with my husband. I wouldn't be able to have had, I wouldn't have been the one who was underwriting the mortgage. I wouldn't have been able to have my own bank account. I would not be in the job that I am today had these women not knocked down these walls for us. And knowing this in my heart of hearts, I know that at some point, I hope that I'm able to exact this kind of change. And that's what this podcast is a step in the direction of, is bringing light and awareness to all of these things. And, if you are feeling, underrepresented, I mean, we're all here in it. And even like professionally speaking, like, I've knocked into glass ceilings almost every step of the way in my career. And for me, it was, you're going to overcome this. You're going to get through this. On a grander scale, this podcast, I hope, is helping to change conversations for people, bring awareness for people where they didn't have awareness, educate people where they didn't have, the knowledge to look into something. Like, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Well, I hope this podcast is filling that gap for you. I hope that this podcast is raising some awareness to you of some kind of an issue. So that way, should you be going through it, or a friend or a family member, then you are able to speak to them, eloquently on it. There's just so much to it. So I just wanted to share all of that with you guys today. It was top of mind for me. It's been something that's been like rolling around since I've been doing all this research on feminism and where we started and where we are now. And it's just incredible. It's truly incredible. I highly encourage, if you've never really looked into it, look into it. There's one wild story I'm going to leave you with, which is actually like, I've been kind of knocking around in my head all day about it, because I'm like, I can't wrap my head around this. That there was a school. I'm scanning. I'm trying to actually find the actual name of the school. There was a military school um that wasn't allowing, here it is. This is in 1973. So again, this is like 2 years before my husband was born. Like this is not that long ago. In 1973, there was a, let me see here. Oh no, excuse me, 1975. I had the wrong thing up on my screen. In 1975, there was a military academy in, let me find it, in Annapolis, it looks like, a military academy in the United States. Women wanted to be entered into this academy. They wanted to join it. And instead of, obviously the people fought. They did not want to let women into this academy. And their solution, instead of just letting women enroll, was to build a school specifically for women and claim that it was on par with the men's academy. And I can't even imagine the amount of time or money or resources was wasted doing this. And the outcome essentially was, oh, it's not the same as the men's school. Oh my gosh, shocker. It's not the same. It's not the same quality. You have to admit women into your school. So the lengths that these men took to prevent women from joining this academy is mind-boggling to me. Like I truly can't wrap my head around it, and it's honestly like such an abuse of power and funds. Like I cannot even get. I can't. I honestly, you know, it's wild. Like I can't even find the words, which you can see I'm struggling with a little bit, because it's like, this is bananas. Like why would you do that? It's crazy. Look it up. I strongly recommend just Google history of what, feminism, or important historical moments in feminism, and you'll find some really interesting and incredible situations that were not that long ago within our lifetimes and still ongoing. There's things in here from not the 90s when I was a kid. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. The situation I just told you all about was from 1996. I was 12 years old when so this is in my lifetime that this was going on. Like this is insane. So just food for thought, look into it. And, if you consider yourself, or even if you don't consider yourself a feminist, really think about it. Because being a feminist really, as I said in the beginning, is about being able to choose. And at its core, that's what this is. And it should not be something like, oh, you have to fit a particular mold, because that goes against feminism. This is not about a mold. This is about the right to be able to make decisions for ourselves and to be considered equals. That's all this is. So I rambled a little bit, but this was top of mind for me and something that I was really getting crazy about on my side. So want to share with you all. I hope you found it informative. I know this is a little bit longer than my usual little thought episodes, but had to get it all out. If you ever want to shoot the breeze with me about this, I am all ears. You can reach me through Instagram, LinkedIn, or our website, www.steelroseswomen.com. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Jenny's little VIP thought episode. I hope you did find it helpful. And again, these are little mini quick hits, so it won't take too much of your day. And I hope that it just brings you some clarity, some peace, maybe some joy in some instances, knowing that, we're sort of all in this together. Check out some of our full episodes, which have guests and my co-host and, lots of great things in them. But I hope that these mini-sodes are helpful to you. Thank you and take care.